What's going on, guys? It's Sunday night. We currently have the engine supported and the trans out of the car. Yeah, it's behind this chair here. And I'm going to take the clutch off now and see what was on the car. I'm pretty sure it's just like an eBay 6-puck, but it felt really good, so I'm just probably going to replace it with the same thing, honestly. Why not? But I'm going to take it apart now. That way I can get it ordered tomorrow and have it come in as soon as possible. Here's the transmission. You can see the inside here is completely covered in oil. So it's been leaking for a while. Now I'm looking around here and I think there is a possibility that there is oil leaking not only from the rear main seal of the motor, but also from the input shaft bearing seal. I have another input shaft bearing and another seal just chilling somewhere in my house. I have to find it. But I'm going to pull the trans apart and replace those. It's not too bad. You do have to take out the gear set and get it back in. But I'll take a video of that. Not sure if I'll have someone to record it for me, but if I do, you guys will get to see it. So I'm going to replace that. And then if we come over here, you can see the clutch right here completely covered in oil. I'm pretty sure it's just eBay. You can tell usually by these bright colors that that's what it is. I mean, the higher end ones are different colors, but I don't see any name brands on this pressure plate. And we'll see. I'll take a look at the clutch plate or the clutch disc as soon as I take it apart, which I will do now. Here's the clutch disc. It is completely burned out. I mean, there's some pad on the pressure plate side, but on the flywheel side, it's it's down to this metal here. So this whole time that I was thinking that the oil was causing the clutch to slip, I was completely wrong. There is, oh, my battery's low. There is a lot of oil in the bell housing, but none of it's actually on the flywheel or this clutch disc itself. I mean, there's some oil in here, but on the actual mating surfaces, there is no oil. So this clutch was actually just burned out. So I'll just order a new one and replace it, and then I shouldn't have any more slipping. What's up, guys? Today we're working on the EG again. I have the trans out right here, and I'm going to be taking it apart and replacing the synchros and the input shaft bearing seal, and then putting it back together. Just kind of like a partial rebuild, not a full rebuild at all. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get started on that now. Patrick.
Hi. What?
Butthole.
What is that, Nicholas?
It's a reverse light switch. It just like came out. I hope it doesn't matter which way the plug goes. They're the same color cables, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, no. We took apart the reverse switch and this cover that covers the snap ring. Now I'm going to go ahead and take apart all the bolts going around the whole trans. Before I split apart the trans, there is this 8mm bolt right here, 8mm Allen bolt, that holds the gear selector in place inside of the trans. So I'll go ahead and take that out before I take the shell off. All the bolts are out, and I started prying this top piece off, but to actually get it off completely, I'm going to have to hold this snap ring apart while Pat pulls up on this whole casing. We should be able to get it off. After an hour of messing with this, finally got it off of the trans. Everything online says you just pull the snap ring, super easy to take it off, but this is like the third time I've done this. It's been extremely hard every single time. You have to mess with it, beat the crap out of certain edges that aren't the mating surface with a hammer. You're just supposed to be able to pry them apart, and they come apart, but they don't come apart enough, and you have to hit on them with a hammer and a bunch of other stuff. It sucks, but it's apart. Oh, dude, this is bad. The seal.
Did you get a new one?
No.
Oh my god.
It's completely chewed up.
Why didn't you get a new one?
I don't know. Well, that sucks. I took the counter shaft out, as you can see there, because when we pull the cover off, that's what's attached to the snap ring on top, and we actually pulled it out of right here. So counter shaft is out. To get the main shaft out, or the input shaft, you have to undo these two bolts here to pull out the reverse selector and the reverse gear in this pin here. So I'll take all of that out. This is pretty much going to end up being a full rebuild now, because this axle seal in here is a little messed up and I think it's going to leak. So I'll end up replacing that, which means I've replaced in the previous videos the shift linkage seal and the other axle seal. I'm going to be replacing the shift or the input shaft seal in this video. So that's all the seals in there. I'm going to check the bearings. I checked the bearings on the counter shaft. They're good. Differential bearings I know are good. So the only bearing I'm going to be replacing is the input shaft bearing. I pulled out the input shaft and the shift forks. It's over there. This is what we're going to be replacing on these little gold things right here. These are the synchronizer, the rings. That's what I'm going to be replacing. That's what grinds when you try to go into gears. It does it in this car, not bad. Sometimes at high RPM, so really they might not have to be changed, but I bought them just because. So over here, you can see the input shaft bearing is, well, these are the washers. I'll take those off. But here's the input shaft bearing. It's missing some ball bearings there. So we're going to be replacing that. I'm going to try to pull this out. It's probably going to be hard. Last time, normally what you do is you stick a slide hammer in here and you just pull up on it. But obviously there's nothing for it to grip on if it just pulls the ring out. So what I'm going to try to do is spread these balls around evenly and pull it out with a slide hammer. If not, we'll have to do what I did in my other car and try to get just this outer ring out, which there's nothing good to get that out with, so I might have to gouge up around where the bearing sits a little bit. But that's what I did in my other car, and I have had zero problems with it, so we'll go ahead and start pulling this out now. I was able to get the bearing out. I shoved paper towel between the bearings there, the ball bearings, to hold them in place, and then I just used the slide hammer to pull it out. Now I have to go ahead and pull that seal out, and we're going to put a new one in there. I got the seal and the bearing out. Now we'll go ahead and put these new ones in that I got from the Honda dealership forever ago when I did my last car. They're just extras. I got the new seal in, but it looks like I'm going to be done for today because that's the wrong bearing. So hopefully the Honda dealership has one in stock. I doubt they do, and I'll have to wait a few days for it, which sucks. But I'll go try to get one tomorrow, and we'll see what happens there. Just got back from the Honda dealership. I have the passenger side axle seal and the correct input shaft bearing. So we'll go ahead and start installing those. I'll do the input shaft bearing first. I still have to rebuild the input shaft itself, replace the synchros on it, and then I'll get working on this seal. The new bearing is in. Next is the input shaft. These are your synchronizers, these in here. This is the gear set, by the way, that I took off of the input shaft here. But these are the synchronizers. This is what wears out. So these little teeth on here are what wear out, and that's what causes your grinds. Now my synchros weren't really that bad, but I did get a grind at very high RPM sometimes, so I figured since I'm taking it apart to replace the input shaft bearing, I might as well replace the synchros while I'm at it too. So you just slip these rings off, and then you got your new one right there. You just put your ring on there, and then you just slip it on the same way that it came off. And that's all there is to it. You just reassemble in reverse order. The input shaft is back together, all new synchros, and it's raining really hard outside. So I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna replace the passenger side axle seal while I have the trans apart, it's a little bit easier. So I'll do that and then we'll start reassembling everything. Okay, I got the gear set back together and it is ready to go back into the casing right there. I won't be able to record it, unfortunately, but I'll go ahead and put that in now. After tons of fighting and swearing and whatnot, I have the gear set in. All the shifting stuff's in there correctly too. I just have to torque it down and it is good to go. There's a video online, it's like gear set installed D16. If you search that in YouTube, you'll come up with the video, and someone says there's a way to install it, and the guy kind of explains it, but I've done this a few times now and I still don't understand what he's trying to say in that video. Like he says put it in third gear, but it's not actually in third gear in the video, so I'm really confused about it. But anyway, I got it in and it's good to go, but I'll pick back up tomorrow. Time to clean off that nasty magnet. Alright, everything inside is torqued and there is RTV laid around it, and now the cover's ready to go on. Okay, the trans is rebuilt and back together. Now it's time for the flywheel to come off so we can replace the rear main seal and the pilot bearing. Well, I was only able to get one bolt out with the impact gun, so I'm going to have to get the rest out by hand. So right now I'm just waiting for my friend to get here so he can hold the crank while I do those by hand. But while I'm waiting, I'm going to go ahead and buff the flywheel with this Scotch-Brite disc. Okay, so I got the flywheel off and the rear main seal out. There's the rear main seal right there, and there is the new one. I'm going to go ahead and put the new one in. Okay, so we got the new seal in and the new pilot bearing in the flywheel. The clutch disc is on there and we're ready to put on the pressure plate. This nice pink pressure plate is on, and now we're going to go ahead and bolt the trans up. Actually, before I put the trans on, I'm going to put on this new throwout bearing and grease it up first, and we'll put it on there. Alright, so as you can see here, we got the trans in. I'm not going to really show you the rest of the process since you've seen me disassemble this car and put it back together so many times. So we'll just go ahead and skip to the end of the video once I have it all together, and we'll show it driving. I noticed this ball joint boot is cracked. I already replaced the other one, if you remember from one of the other episodes. But this one was hiding on me because it's on the inside of the ball joint, and I guess I just didn't see it. So I'll go ahead and replace that one. Okay, so we have a problem. I went to see if it would go into gear, and it was having a little trouble getting into the gears, but I was able to get it into gear when I was underneath the car. So I just gave it a tiny bit more force and the shifter snapped. So the gear set might not be in right and the shifter broke. So now I'll go to the junkyard tomorrow and grab a shifter. Just temporarily. I'll probably get a aftermarket one afterwards, and then we'll worry about the gear set and the trans and whether I put that in correctly. But let's at least see. I do have clutch. Let's see if the car starts. Oh, the battery's dead. So that, yeah, battery's completely dead. So that doesn't help either. Alright, we'll pick back up on this later. Okay, so that might have been somewhat of a false alarm. We'll see. I got a pack of gum in here. Nice. Well, this is where my air ride paddles used to be, because this car had Airlift V2 and manual paddles. But I obviously took that out and put that in the other car. Or not the manual paddles, but the air ride. So I can actually see the bottom of the shifter if I poke it through. Let me see. And let me see if I can focus on that. That does not look broken. It looks like it just popped out of something. So I'm going to take apart this console right here and take a look and see what this popped out of. I got the center console out, and guess what? It did snap. So I'm going to go on a limb here and say that that was an eBay shifter, I'm guessing. By the fact that how it broke, which is a little bit crazy. But I'm going to go ahead and jack the car up again and look underneath and see if I can get the trans to go into gear. Update, I'm now under the car. I can get it into the gears, and it seems to be working once it's in gear. It's just harder than it should be to get it into gear. So I'm not entirely sure. I can't diagnose much more without a shifter, obviously. So I'll have to get a shifter first, and then I might end up having to rip the trans out again. I really hope not. But if I do, at least I don't have to do all the clutch stuff again. And I'm going to try to take some shortcuts. I'm going to try doing it without taking the header off, not taking the axle out fully, just pulling it out of the trans. And it should be much quicker to get everything apart if I do it like that. We are at the junkyard, and we're going to get a shifter. We found what we were looking for. Oh, it's shot. We found this car with a shifter. If you put it in gear, has very little play. So this is the one that I'm going to grab it out of. Okay, so we got the shifter off, and I noticed a couple things in this car. It's got a nice clean center console that I'm going to take for the EK. It also has this sway bar, which is in really good shape. I need this back half of the control arm, but look at these bolts aren't really rusted. And under here, these ones broke free. All the bolts have broken free. So I'm just going to take it off and take this sway bar as well. Yo, I'm back from the junkyard, and I have the sway bar, which I'll put on in a different episode, and the center console. I'll throw that on in probably the same episode as the sway bar. I also got that shifter that I needed. So we'll go ahead and start unbolting this one. Normally all you got to take out is this stabilizer bar and this whole thing, but this nut is stuck right there, so I had to take out the whole shift linkage as well. I got the new shifter in, and I'll show you what's going on with the trans now. So I can go left and right just fine. To put it into gear, if I just push like with normal force, it won't go in, but if I do that, that's first, second, third, fourth. It just takes a little bit more force than normal. That's reverse. There is a possibility that the oil just has to get up in there and lubricate everything. So we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and start the car. Also, this force that I'm putting in there to get it into gear right now, that's what broke the other shifter. So it was probably just ready to go. It was a cheap eBay aluminum one. It's sitting right there still. So I'm gonna start the car and see what happens. Okay, so I got a new issue now. The car still won't start. The battery's been charging. It hasn't been charging for that long, so maybe that's the issue. But like if I hit the brakes, that light dims back there. So and that's even without the key turned forward. So I'm gonna check the grounds. I mean, I only undid one ground, so I'm gonna go ahead and check that, and then see if we can figure out what's going on. Okay, confession time. When I was putting the starter back in, there are two wires going to two identical looking places on the starter. It's different than the starter that's in my EK. I don't know if you can see too much down there, but it's different than the starter that's in my EK, so I couldn't remember how I took it apart. I just kind of guessed when I put it back together. But if I can show you this here, if I push on this, not only does the battery charger make noise or stop working, but it sparks too. So something's going on there. I'm going to take that apart and try to fix it. So it turns out I had it right the whole time. I was just missing this washer. So I'm going to put it back together now. Okay, so I'm jumping the car now because the battery charger wasn't working fast enough. And it is still not working even after fixing the starter. This is what happens when I try to start it. It gets pretty much full power here, and then I go to turn the ignition on and the car just won't start. And when I take the car off the jumper cables, the battery is still completely dead. Update, I've done a bunch of troubleshooting. I took the ground completely apart, cleaned every single contact that the ground makes, and then I also took the bracket for the ground off of the trans, cleaned where the bracket connects to the trans, and cleaned the whole bracket and everything. Put it all back together, jumped the car for about another 10 minutes. The car started. I was able to drive it around the block, tested all the gears. Everything shifts fine. But as soon as, well, actually, I got to the end of the street and the car died. It like stalled, but it seemed like it, sorry, there's mosquitoes in here, but it seemed like it just died. So I took the battery out of my white Civic, put it in this car, and as soon as I turned the key, it killed that battery too, completely dead. So I took the starter out, had the starter tested good. He told me that something might be shorting out on the starter cable because it only kills the battery once I turn the key. So I checked that out, and it looked like there could have been something that was causing it, so I taped all that up, put it all back together, tried it again, and it's still not working. It runs! Check it out. Nice smooth shifts. Trans works, everything works. So what that ended up being was the negative battery terminal. I had to take it out. I unbolted it from the frame. I cleaned out the inside of the actual terminal itself and around the battery. And then I also cleaned up where it connects to the frame, bolted everything back together, and the car started right up. I shut it off and started it back up again just to make sure that it still worked. And it sure does. That's the end of this video. If you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe, share it, leave a comment below. Or, if you disliked it, hit that dislike button. I guess that's what it's there for. But the next video is going to be making the car look a little bit better. I'm going to be wrapping some stuff and installing the mud guards back on the wheels. I'm going to have to cut them so they fit around the flares. And it should be a good video, so stay tuned. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and peace!